Hello, in this video we will discuss about the auditory reflex. What is the auditory reflex? Let's begin to understand. So the acoustic reflex arc we will discuss in this way. Auditory reflex means the hearing pathway. So we will also learn about the limbic system for emotion, the changes of the emotion after the voice, after the sound. So here is the middle ear, left and right. So remember, we are discussing the whole summary first. So this is the middle ear which that transmits the signal to the cochlea, and the cochlea the vibratory cilia which that is vibrate after the voice. So in this way the auditory eighth nerve, this is the cranial nerve eighth, which that receive the signal, and the cochlear nucleus which that receive after the signal, and the superior olivary complex which that will be interconnected to each other. And in this way the both side of the olivary complex which that will receive the sound. uh, Even one ear can be listen, but the both ear can feel. So here the facial seventh nerve nucleus which that is also involved directly to the middle ear. So remember the facial seventh nerve nucleus, facial seventh nerve nucleus. So here is the person which has contain ear. So let's begin to understand the anatomical aspect of the ear. Ear contain external ear, middle ear and internal ear. External ear is used for the sound. External auditory canal which that contain a canal is used for the sound listening. So in this way here you can see this is the basically the receiving of the sound. So the receiving of the sound here after the vibration of the eardrum will lead to attach the bones which that is a smaller bone throughout the body, malleus, incus and stapes, which that vibrate, and after the vibration transmit the signal to the cochlea, and the cochlea contains semicircular canal for balance, and the balance vestibular nerve is involved here, and this is the cochlear nerve. So the cochlea contain fluid contain a cilia used for the vibration, while the semicircular canal contain fluid used for the balance. So remember. So in this way here I am drawing the semicircular canal, and cochlea is the internal ear part, and the cochlear nerve contain cochlear nerve, cranial nerve eighth. So this cranial nerve eighth will be diverge, that divide into the three branches, and this will target to the ventral cochlear nucleus, and here is the medulla, midpones, and the pons mid-brain junction, and the caudal midbrain and brain. So in this way, let's begin to understand the ascending pathway after the listening, after the vibration of the cochlea through transmit the signal to the cochlear nerve. Depolarization will go into the dorsal cochlear nucleus and ventral. So in this way, this is the superior olivary nucleus which that involve also. So remember the trapezoid body, the ventral acoustic stria, while on the other hand this is the inferior calculus of the caudal midbrain part, while this is the medial geniculate nucleus of the thalamus, and this is the primary auditory cortex in the brain. This is the higher brain cortex, and this is the thalamus, remember the auditory thalamus. So this is the branches of the nerves will be diverge into the ventral and dorsal cochlear nucleus. After this divergence, these branches will transmit the signal to the midpones, which that is the superior olivary nucleus receive the signal, and trapezoid body, the ventral acoustic stria, which that will transmit the other part. Thus, if the left ear will feel the sound, will transmit by this mechanism. In this way, the lateral lemniscus pathway, Lateral lemniscus pathway which that will integrate the both ear feeling of the sound. So that is why the both ear can be feel if even one ear can feel the sound. So this is the another pathway. In this way here, this is the acoustic stria and intermediate dorsal stria containing nerve which that they will up movement directly to the inferior calculus. So this will lead to also the additional nerves. These additional nerves will basically interpretation to the if the left ear feel, so the right ear will processing the more efficiently voice. While here is the primary auditory cortex after the medial geniculate nucleus of the thalamus, which that will integrate and the transmit the signal to the primary auditory cortex. Let's begin to understand. This is the auditory thalamus we are understanding. So in this way, this was the ascending pathway of the nervous system. So the central nervous system. So this is the medial geniculate nucleus. So in this way, here is the auditory thalamus, which that's contain a medial geniculate body. So this medial geniculate nucleus containing basically medial geniculate nucleus will transmit the signal to the primary auditory cortex. This primary auditory cortex basically transmits the signal to the auditory associated cortex. Auditory associated cortex transmits the signal to the polymodal associated cortex in the limbic system. So this is a limbic system part and will transmit the signal to the nucleus basalis, and this nucleus basalis is basically receive the signal also via a central nucleus. So this central nucleus receive the signal from the auditory thalamus to the basolateral nucleus, transmit the signal to the central nucleus for processing, and in this way this nucleus basalis intercorrelation with the primary auditory cortex, auditory associated cortex, and polymodal associated cortex will transmit the signal to the central nucleus for the behavioral changes or autonomic changes, endocrine changes, and emotional response, the control system, for changing the hormonal changes, for during the puberty, the voice of the female or male, for male or for female. So in this way, here is the auditory nerve damage if lead to stop the hearing. Naturally, absence of the synapse between cochlea and nerve lead to non-hearing disorder. While on the other hand, if the high-pitched sound damage or burst the eardrum lead to stop hearing, and because the vibration will unable to transmit signal to the brain lead to absence the hearing of sound. So anyhow, in this video you had learned about the ascending pathway, the auditory reflex arc, acoustic reflex arc, for the feeling of the voice, the feeling of the sound, and the system for emotion, the limbic system for emotion, the changes of the emotion. When changes of the emotion means changes of the behavior, and the behavior will change the autonomic nervous system. If the strong voice, we will shock, so we'll feel the sympathetic nervous system rather than the parasympathetic nervous system. Parasympathetic nervous system is used for the rest and digest, so it means the cool voice. So thanks for watching this video about the auditory reflex, acoustic reflex arc. This is the limbic system for emotion changes we had discussed about. So I hope you make sense about this. If you like this video, please make sure to subscribe, like, and share this video. Okay, bye. Thanks.